see all the parades shutting down automatically because he says it's not a federal holiday anymore. At least we're in California, so it would still be a state holiday anyway, right?
That's right. That's right. And also, I mean, maybe it challenges us to dig deeper about what is King Day, because King Day for many has become almost like a President's Day where, it's a day off of work or school or whatever, but they're not really, other than, I think Black people, the parade is a big deal, but really delving into the radicalism of King and how King would have challenged and kind of a celebration of King demands that we challenge the fascism under which we now live is something that we could deepen ourselves around. I love what Oakland does. My sister from another Mr. Cat Brooks leads Reclaim King and the Radical King. They demonstrate every year under the name of Radical King. And, we'll be marching in the parade. Black Lives Matter Los Angeles will be in the parade today. And we're talking about how we reclaim King and remember that King is not somebody who LAPD should ever be marching for, because King would be marching against them, right? And so reclaiming the true legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., remembering that his last speech wasn't about Black children and white children holding hands, that it was about something much more revolutionary, and we should embrace the Dr. King who advanced democratic socialism and reparations and ending wars and militarism and challenging capitalism.
I mean, not that we're against, or at least I'm not against Black kids and white kids holding hands or whatever they want to do. But to your point, I think it's very reductive the way, the way King is celebrated, and conservatives even try to use his rhetoric now to justify their positions, the anti-DEI or, so-called post-racial analysis.
That's right. That's right. And I'm not against Black kids and white kids holding hands either before somebody says that's what I said. I'm just saying that's not his last speech or his main work. His main work was not about that. His main work was about fundamentally shifting the systems under which we live. And that's what our celebrations and our days of reflection and work should be about. I found it really interesting. I was at a King Day celebration and I was flyering for Keith Porter, and there were people who seemed very annoyed when I was handing them flyers. And I'm thinking, isn't this King Day? Aren't we supposed to be doing justice work for King Day? Not just sitting down, eating a meal and dressing up in earth tones, but we're supposed to be, advancing activism.
Yeah. It's funny you'd say that, because I know that a lot of people take that part really seriously and do a day of service. I was at the Long Beach parade on Saturday. It was my first time ever riding in the Long Beach Martin Luther King Junior Parade. Thanks for inviting me, Marie Deary, and all of the young. I was with a contingent of young men, mostly. High school and college. When I say young, I mean actually really young. And they were, most of them were planning to do, and the older guys too, were planning to do a day of service where I guess they all meet up at Martin Luther King Park, and there's a number of different projects, and people fan out, and they're painting stuff. They're, refurbishing schools and cleaning neighborhoods and cleaning the actual beach. And so that, I think some people do take it pretty seriously as a day of service or a day of activism.
That's right. And I think a day of service is beautiful. And Dr. King was not, and the civil rights movement, and the SNCC and the SCLC were not primarily social service organizations either. They were activist organizations, right, meant to transform things. So I know that, for instance, the BSUs are meeting this weekend, all BSUs throughout
Black
the state.
student unions.
Collegiate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Collegiate level BSUs are meeting this weekend. Their meetings are really, really important. And I mean, I think that they're beginning to, there's an organization that brings them together called African Black Coalition. And what they're doing is honing skills for activism. That's what it's about. And I had to have conversations with some of the students at the BSUs who said that the last thing they're supposed to do is, for today, they're supposed to come up with a project. And many of them are handing out socks downtown. And I think it's important, donate socks downtown. And, though, help us organize for a people's budget. Help us organize for Keith Porter. Help us, challenge systems, because SNCC, SCLC, Dr. King, Ella Baker, yes, we want Black people to have what they need. However, the way we get what we need is by organizing, not simply providing social services. Social services should be something that we do because we have to do it, but the thrust of our work is about transforming the world under which we live.
Well, because if we make the changes in the system, then we don't have to hand out socks because everybody has socks. I mean, that's where we're hoping, that's where I aim to get to, right? Yes, it's true we have to take these emergency measures in the meantime of the very predatory era of capitalism. This is like capitalism, the predator that we're living in right now. But I think the goal is to change systems so we don't have to hand out socks and hand out food so that everybody has, enough to eat and a place to stay.
Right, and that's right? That's the right thing to do. And King was very vocal about capitalism is what creates these conditions, and that we should have, even as early as 1952, he talked about how his economic theories and beliefs are mostly, quote unquote, socialistic, not capitalistic, right? And by the end of his life, he was a full-fledged democratic socialist. So it's important to remember that under socialism, the people own the means of production. So there's plenty of socks for everybody. There's plenty of housing for everybody. That there aren't a few people who are hoarding 8, 9, 10 homes. Now I'm getting up into Tupac, right? Mm-hmm. There's not people hoarding 8, 9, 10 homes when somebody else doesn't have a place to live and is being criminalized. I was actually on my way to the King breakfast and watched as LAPD I didn't even know they ticket unhoused people. I thought they stopped that practice. How they gonna pay that ticket? You're criminalizing them for being poor and heaping more poverty upon them, right? There's plenty for everybody to be housed if we decide that's where our resources need to go. And that's the decision that people in Los Angeles, when they do the people's budget, they make it clear over and over that that's where we want our resources to go, housing and mental health resources, quality after-school programs, parks, libraries, those sorts of things. But we live in a system that actually, betrays Dr. King's legacy by pouring those things into militarism, including militarized policing, which he calls one of the 3 evils of the world.
And for those who are not familiar, the People's Budget is an initiative where you can fill out a survey to say how you want your tax dollars spent, how you want the city budget to be allocated, and then that all of that data is aggregated. It's been going on every year for, 6 years now? 5, 6 years?
Yeah, since this is the 6th year.
And
yes.
For a couple of years, that data was presented to Mayor Bass. Not sure if that's going to happen again, but it's very important and impactful. So is it up? Can people vote on it?
It's launched today.
Okay.
peoplesbudgetla.com/survey. peoplesbudgetla.com/survey.
All right. We're going to continue this King Day conversation when we come forward. You're invited in 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580, or you can go to the YouTube at KBLA 1580 and make a comment in the comments section. We've got a lot to talk about. Happy King Day from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominic DePrima when we come forward.
Ron had a tax problem he just couldn't handle on his own.
I owed the IRS taxes for over 5 years, but I didn't have any money to pay the taxes.
Those years cost him dearly.
Most of it was fees and interest. It was horrible.
Ron finally called in the pros.
I called Optima Tax Relief, and boy, am I happy I did.
The leading tax resolution firm, Optima, is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. They've resolved over $1 billion for their clients. Ron was overjoyed.
They settled my account with the IRS. I was ecstatic. They are a lifesaver. They are. I am so happy.
Take Ron's advice and call Optima now for a free consultation.
Yeah, don't do like I did and wait. Call Optima Tax Relief. Do it now. You'll be ecstatic like me.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hi, it's Tavis Smiley. For 40 years, I have had the privilege, and I don't use that word lightly, the privilege of sitting down with presidents, world leaders, authors, artists, activists, the folk who shape our world. Thousands of conversations, tens of thousands of questions. And somewhere along the way, I realized that the art of conversation is dying. So here's what I'm going to do about it. I am now going to teach what these almost 40 years have taught me, how to have conversations that matter. 6 courses, from the anatomy of a great conversation to generous listening as a superpower to handling difficult exchanges without losing your dignity or your mind. Go to TavisTalks.com right now. That's TavisTalks.com. Download the free guide, see what's coming, sign up to be the first to know when we launch the series. Conversation is a skill, and like any skill, it can be taught. I'll see you in class.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with the world. African Focus Incorporated is a community-based organization whose mission is to bring Africans and African Americans together, lead charitable initiatives on the motherland, and educate people from all walks of life on the beauty, legacy, and opportunity of Africa's 54 nations. And it's that time once again when African Focus is teaming up with KBLA Talk 1580 for our 8th annual African Focus Trailblazers Tour. Travel with us in 2026 when we're headed to the southern African nations of Zambia and Botswana for a historical, cultural, and vacation tour led by me, Dominique DePrima, Cultural Ambassador for African Focus Incorporated. Enjoy luxurious accommodations, conscious fellow travelers, shopping, adventures, cultural tours, wildlife safaris, and a giant waterfall, one of the world's 7 wonders, along with a chance to be of service at an orphanage on the continent. Become an AFI trailblazer by exploring the motherland with a nonprofit organization that has members in Africa and America to help roll out the red carpet for you, and together we'll make a difference and have fun doing it. For more information, visit africanfocus.org or call 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300 or africanfocus.org. Whether it's stateside or exploring the diaspora, we're with you every step of the way. African Focus
Republican leaders have not publicly addressed the messages. And the DOJ has opened a new probe into Black New York Attorney General Letitia James, this time focusing on payments between her 2018 campaign and her longtime hairdresser. James hasn't been accused of wrongdoing, and her attorney calls the investigation a political vendetta. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
Is this the tackle?
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Rams are in the NFC Championship game. They survived ice-cold conditions in Chicago Sunday to beat the Bears 20-17 in overtime. Harrison Mevis kicked a 42-yard field goal to win it. The Rams will play at Seattle Sunday for the right to go to the Super Bowl. The Lakers got 25 points and 13 rebounds from DeAndre Ayton to beat Toronto 110-93. Ayton was perfect from the floor. He made all 10 of his shots. The Clippers are part of the NBA's MLK celebration today. They have a day game at Washington. The Clippers are going for their 6th straight win. The UCLA women's basketball team, ranked 3rd in the country, pounded Maryland Sunday by 30, 97-67. Forward Gabriela Jaquez had 22 points. The Bruins are 7-0 in the Big Ten. The college football season ends tonight. Miami and Indiana will battle for the national championship. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your Nature-Made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature-Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle, based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks Vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right. So we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thank you for waking up with me. Dr. Melina Abdullah is my guest this hour of Black Lives Matter Grassroots, which is Black Lives Matter, in case you're confused, and some folks are. And she's also lead organizer for BLM LA. So, what is happening right now? Am I reading that the that the district attorney, our mini MAGA DA, Nathan Hochman, is saying that ICE detained someone from his office? What is happening?
Yeah, apparently, according to the DA, somebody from his office was detained, but it's I think ICE is saying that's not true. You'll never hear this come out my mouth again. I believe Nathan Hochman.
Nah, we won't be hearing that again. Take a picture. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because that they're saying, no, we would never. And he's saying, yes, you did. And that they released, the person shortly after. I'm assuming it's a Latino employee because they're saying we don't racial profile, which is crazy because didn't they go to court to be allowed to racially profile? I mean, isn't that what they did? What they did?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. And not only that, this is Hochman's office, the DA's office under Hochman. Not only that, every single racial justice advancement step forward that was made under Gascon, Hochman is attempting to roll back, including the things that don't say that they're racial profiling, but absolutely are, like ending the use of gang enhancements, which, people who are, I have one view of prosecutions that's probably further to the left, but people who are being prosecuted, and I feel like almost everybody feels this way, should be prosecuted for the crimes they're actually accused of, not the neighborhoods in which they live. And Hochman is trying to reinstitute this practice of prosecuting people because they live in a certain neighborhood. They can still be prosecuted for the crime, but why do they have to get extra time because they live on Grape Street or because they live, in Hyde Park? And that's what Nathan Hochman is doing. So as he's talking about ICE and racial profiling, he's actually engaging in racial profiling. And if he thinks ICE is wrong, you know what he can do to show it? Charge the ICE agent who killed Keith Porter. He has the power to do that. That's how you get ICE back, Nathan Hochman. We know you're vindictive. Use it for good and charge the ICE agent who killed
Use
Keith
vindictiveness
Porter.
for good. That's pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, it is interesting because the ICE is has now been granted the right to racial profile if they want to, and the DA's office clearly does it. Putting identity over behavior, which is a problem. But this is just it's crazy to me that they're fighting about this. No, we have no record of that. And it's also, I think it's interesting that the DA is objecting to it on the grounds of racial profiling when, everything you just laid out. But back to Keith Porter, there was a press conference. That press conference was focused on this Brian Palacios guy that you were talking about earlier in the conversation, who is the ICE agent that has now been identified as his alleged killer. And he is still working for ICE as far as we know, still not facing any charges, no suspension, not even a tap on the wrist, nothing, right?
No, being hailed by the Department of Homeland Security as a hero. Brian Palacios is a murderer. He's not a hero. He's being hailed as a hero. He is not being even reprimanded for stealing the life of this black man. And so the people have to make the demands. And I want to be real clear. The column that I write for the Sentinel is about this for this week, that one of the things that we hear happening is distinctions being made between ICE and local law enforcement. And essentially many of those who are more liberal, who aren't straight up caping for ICE, who aren't straight up saying, ICE is doing good work. Many of the liberals are saying, well, let LAPD handle things. LAPD proves that they are in bed with ICE over and over again. Keith Porter's murder is one of the most clearly illustrative examples that LAPD, again, knew Brian Palacios' name from the moment Keith was killed. LAPD knew his background. And so it came to as a revelation to us on Friday that here's Brian Palacios' name. LAPD already had that information. So they also chose not to make an arrest. They also have been engaging in this character assassination, not of Palacios, who is a child abuser and domestic violence perpetrator and a racist and a homophobe and a sexist, all of these things that are on record through court documents. They instead assassinate the character of Keith Porter, who by every single measure is a wonderful human being and dad and girl dad, and he should be hailed the hero, not Brian Palacios. So the people got to take action. And again, that petition, which is almost at 10,000 signatures now, we need more. So sign the petition at tinyurl.com/sign4Keith. tinyurl.com/sign4Keith.
It reminds me of Slade Douglas III, who we had, his lawyers on, where in that case, this, he's the one that won this huge $6.8 million settlement against, or judgment against the LAPD damages, even though they didn't kill him. I think it's one of the biggest verdict awards ever for someone that lived. And it reminds me because the cop on that case apparently had a domestic violence report against him of him beating up his own wife, and they made a deal with the wife not to press charges if he would go into some kind of rehab, and he was able to keep his job, and they covered it up. And he also had a substance abuse problem, and it didn't come out until partway through the trial, and that to me is crazy. But what the attorneys were saying, that's what they weren't able to prove it in court, but what they saw was that there's a pattern of the LAPD covering up officers who have domestic violence track records and substance abuse track records, so they can keep them on the job and give them some, they give them alternatives to incarceration that they don't offer to the general public.
Well, what I learned is that, and I just learned this as we're looking at Brian Palacios, the ICE agent. I keep naming him because I want everybody to know him because he should not live a peaceful life. Brian Palacios, the ICE agent who killed Keith Porter. What I learned is that there's a such thing as a dismissal for the furtherance of justice, which is not the furtherance of justice. It's specific to police. So when police commit a crime, and maybe Judge Songhai can clarify this, when police commit a crime, because I'm just learning it, there are often deals that are entered where even these terrible crimes that they've committed are dismissed and they're put under some kind of special diversion that only applies to cops so that they can keep their jobs and their weapons. I think about Brian Palacios, who killed Keith Porter. And if he commits domestic violence, everyone else is denied a regular gun permit. You can't even have a gun in your home. How does he have an ICE-issued firearm and is empowered with federal powers and allowed in this state to kill people when he's a domestic violence perpetrator? And it looks like has multiple restraining orders that have been filed against him.
Yeah, well, that's what that's what attorneys Pete Carr and Lauren McRae were saying. They saw in just the research and the discovery that they got around their client's case. And I thought that was very disturbing, especially since I've seen data about how common these domestic violence cases are among law enforcement. And the other side, it reminds me of Trayvon Martin in that somebody who was not even a cop in that case wasn't arrested until for killing a kid, Trayvon Martin, until the activists, the Dream Defenders, and the community demanded it, and George Zimmerman was on the loose for a long time until the community demanded his arrest, and it's also reminding me of that situation.
That's right. And so the community has to demand of LAPD that they arrest Brian Palacios and present him for prosecution to the DA. That's where the power is to actually do something. Both LAPD Chief Jim McDonnell, who has, again, allowed and probably instructed his LAPD to hail the murderer a hero and demonize the victim, he has the power to change things now and arrest Brian Palacios, and the terrible district attorney, Nathan Hartman, has the power to prosecute Brian Palacios.
Yeah. Well, just all of this is, to me, it's just an indication of how out of hand things are at the moment. I mean, and I have a lot of progressive and radical friends who say, well, this has always been America. This is the America that black people deal with every day, and et cetera, et cetera. And I know on some levels that's true. But when you have the MAGA DA fighting with the MAGA ICE, it's bad because typically, I think a Huckman covers up for them. I think he would cover up for them. It indicates to me that this may not be the first time that something like that has happened with them. And I do think that even though people say, well, black people have been dealing with fascism in this country for a long time, it's more grave at the moment. How do you see it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And let's not, as people, grow dispirited. Let's remember that every time, if we fight back, we win. That's our chant, right? When we fight, we win. When we fight back, we win. So we can't be cowering in corners. We have to fight for what it is we want. We have to fight for, again, police who kill our people to be prosecuted. We have to fight for resources that house our people. We have to fight for the kind of world that we can have if we weren't spending $4,000 per taxpayer on ICE, right? If we fight for it, we can win it and put those things into the things that actually make the world better. If we weren't trying to go capture Greenland, right?
Yeah, right. And other things we have no money to do. 800-920-1580 if you don't want to weigh in. Dr. Melina Abdullah is with me. I'm Dominique DePrima for Unapologetically Progressive, KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
Unwrap LA this winter with Metro. Whether you're heading to a family gathering or last-minute shopping, Metro's got you. Enjoy free rides across Metro on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. Move with joy. Move with community this holiday season. Go Metro. Still battling a thirsty lawn that guzzles water and drains your wallet? Let LADWP turn that patch of grass into a gorgeous drought-smart garden for free. We're talking a full California-friendly landscape makeover designed and installed by pros at no cost to you. That's right, LADWP does the work, you get the upgrade. Ready to transform your yard and save big? Visit LADWP.com/leap. That's LADWP.com/LEAP.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach, transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal, prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-515-4493, 800-515-4493, 800-515-4493.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth. Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
We do not, and we welcome you in always at 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Dr. Melina Abdullah is here. You can look for her in the parade. I'll be there, too, with Black Lives Matter LA, the Kingdom Day Parade, going down King today. If you're driving around, everything is blocked off. I think the Bakewells have taken it up a notch, apparently. It's giving Taste of Soul right now out in the streets. I'd give yourself a lot of time if you're trying to go somewhere. And avoid King and Crenshaw near King. We've got Lynette on the phone calling us from Los Angeles. Hi, Lynette.
Hi. Happy New Year, Happy New Year greeting and Happy King Day, Queens. And thank you for taking my call, reparations in memory of our ancestors. And I just hope that, by we, getting together more like we need to, like Dr. King and them have always led by example, that we will also not get lost in the sauce about, what does everybody else want to do? Or we got to be more, I think, more Afrocentric than ever. And I'm not excluding anybody else, but seeing that we are the real targets here, and we know fascism ain't went nowhere. It's on steroids now. We need to be calling our attorney generals and stuff and talking about all this stuff that's going on in L.A. right now with these police and the ICE and what have you. And, that kind of thing. This ain't a day where we can go to Macy's and go shopping kind of time we in. Because we done got lost in the sauce about the King theory. The people that supported Stalin and all them folks, Darwinism, they ain't lost in the sauce. They've kept it real 100 the whole time. And that's what we got to do, especially now. And joining, and also I want to give out some shout-outs to Royce Esters and Dr. Dove. We can't forget the people that came before us that are still staying with us in this thing either. And Dr. King was for justice at every level. And that's where we have to be, not only just racially, economically. He'd be for reparations. We got to take this around the world because the world, they know Dr. King too. But they ain't lost in the sauce as much as we are. I don't know. We made a commercial here. It's all something else. It's a whole nother animal now. Yep. And I'm glad you guys are bringing that up. And can somebody say police consent decree again? How about some police unions right now, and that includes ICE. Thank you guys so much, and God bless you. Have a good day.
All right, you too, Lynette. I'm handing the mic to you, Dr. Abdullah, to address some of what she said, if you would like to.
Well, it was great to hear Sister Lynette's voice, and I'll echo everything that she said. And in the name of Dr. King, let's do good work, right, which means abolishing ICE. Dr. King would absolutely be about abolishing ICE. Grateful that there are a few courageous folks saying that it's irredeemable. Ayanna Pressley continues to be one of my favorite members of Congress who's unabashed in her commitment to abolish ICE, right?
Well, I feel like that's the new defund the police. I mean, because I've seen a couple of politicians being pressed on this on television, and I feel like Republicans think they have an advantage. If they can get Dems to say abolish ICE, then they can use that to primary them or hurt them in elections. It's very much giving defund the police 2022.
So here's the thing. I heard that on local news yesterday. That is it like defund the police? Is it a bad thing to say? Let's remember in 2020, defund the police was actually successful. So I don't know what folks are saying. I know that liberals tried to go on and say it's a terrible thing to say. We don't want to. Joe Biden said he wants to fund the police.
It became a litmus test for politicians. If you said defund the police, then that you would be attacked on that. Whether it was successful or not, for politicians, it became a third rail.
So and I know we only got a few minutes. Here's one of the things I think we need to lift up. ICE is only a 23-year-old agency. So when we said defund the police and to shift those resources, that was more difficult, more of a challenge for people to imagine. We've lived, unless you are our children's age, you've lived in a world without ICE. So it's not hard to say abolish ICE. And then I think the challenge is we have to also say, what about policing? And I want to push us there because that's who I am. That's my role in this world, is to push us there and say, when do you feel safest? I don't feel safer when a police cruiser pulls up behind me. I don't feel safer because I saw them driving slowly in front of my house last night and this morning. That doesn't make me feel safer. I feel safer when my neighbors are out. Right? I feel safer when everybody is out. It makes me feel unsafe that people are living in tents. It makes me feel unsafe that my children don't have anywhere to go after school. That makes me feel unsafe. And so we need to invest in those things. So I do want to push people to say abolish ICE, but also how is ICE a part of a larger infrastructure and architecture of policing that is continuously harmful and murderous, especially for Black people?
Let's remind folks where they can follow you, where they can find the petition, where they can follow Black Lives Matter, the real Black Lives Matter.
Sure. BLM Grassroots on all social media. The work for Keith Porter is being carried by BLM Los Angeles on Instagram, BLM LA on X, Black Lives Matter in Los Angeles. We'll be in the parade, inshallah, and pray to see you there, and sign the petition for Keith Porter's killer to be arrested. That's tinyurl.com/sign for Keith, all spelled out. And do the People's Budget, peoplesbudgetla.com/survey.
All right, you got your work cut out for you. Also, if you want to donate to Keith Porter, I would link to the one on Black Lives Matter LA to make sure you're at the right one, because as usual, it's confusing, but there is one that's helping his daughter. So if you want to donate.
tinyurl.com/donate for Keith. Donate for Keith. tinyurl.com/donate for Keith is the one created by his mother.
All right. Dr. Melina Abdullah, thanks so much.
Thank you.
News, traffic, and sports, and we got Mindful Monday, open phones, so much going on. Can't wait to see you. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The 2026 Detroit Auto Show is now open to the public. Merrill Kane is the Public Relations Director for the Chevrolet Detroit